Hey everyone, welcome back to the deep dive. You know how we love getting into the nitty-gritty of all things health and wellness and figuring out what actually works.
Absolutely. And today we're tackling a topic that's both super popular and sometimes a little misunderstood.
The keto diet, but with a twist.
Yeah, we're not just talking about dropping carbs for a few weeks to lose a few pounds.
We're diving deep into how to make keto feel like a real lifestyle shift.
A sustainable way of eating that you can actually stick with long term.
Exactly. We've got this awesome article here called How to Make Keto Feel Like a Lifestyle, Not a Diet. And it's packed with insights that are going to resonate with anyone who's been curious about keto.
Maybe tried it before but struggled to keep it going.
Or maybe you're just starting to explore the whole keto thing and feeling a little overwhelmed by all the info out there.
Well, we're here to break it all down for you.
So let's jump right into it. The article really emphasizes this idea of shifting your mindset from thinking of keto as a strict diet to seeing it as a more holistic way of living.
It's a subtle but super important distinction.
Right, because when we think about diets, we often associate them with restrictions and deprivation,
All the things you can't have.
which sets you up for cravings and makes it harder to stick with it long term.
Exactly. The article challenges us to flip that script and focus on the positive changes that keto can bring.
Like increased energy, mental clarity, and stable blood sugar,
It's about feeling your best,
Yeah.
not just fitting into your genes.
which are both great goals, by the way.
Oh, for sure. But the point is to think beyond the scale and consider the bigger picture of how keto can impact your overall well-being.
I love that. It's about feeling empowered, not restricted.
Totally. And once you start to see keto in this light, it becomes a lot less intimidating and a lot more exciting.
Okay, already starting to feel my mindset shifting, but let's be real for a second. Those carb cravings are no joke.
Especially in the beginning.
When your body is adjusting to burning fat for fuel instead of its usual go-to glucose from carbs.
Exactly. Our bodies are pretty clever at adapting, but those initial cravings can definitely be intense.
The article dives into the psychology behind those cravings.
It's fascinating, right?
It's not just about the physical need for carbs, but also the habits and associations we have with certain foods.
Think about it. Bread, pasta, sweets, these are often comfort foods.
Things we connect with happy memories or specific rituals.
So it's not as simple as just telling yourself no to those foods because there's an emotional component at play.
Makes sense. I mean, how many times have you tried to just willpower your way through a craving and it backfires?
Oh, countless times. That's why the article emphasizes the importance of finding ways to satisfy those cravings in a way that aligns with your keto goals.
Okay, I'm intrigued. So we're not just going cold turkey on all carbs forever.
Well, drastically reduced carbs is a key part of keto, but it doesn't mean you have to completely deprive yourself of those satisfying flavors and textures.
And that's where keto bread comes in. To be honest, before diving into this article, I thought bread was totally off limits on keto.
It's a common misconception. Traditional bread with its high carb content, yeah, that's definitely a no-go. But there's been a lot of innovation in this area.
And now you can find specialized keto breads that are low in carbs and won't kick you out of ketosis.
The article specifically mentions Best Keto Breads as a brand that's doing this really well.
I've definitely seen those at the store, but honestly, I was skeptical.
I get it. It almost seems too good to be true, right?
Right. Bread that you can actually eat on keto.
But trust me, the science and the taste buds back it up.
So tell me more. What makes these keto breads so different from the regular stuff?
They're typically made with almond flour, coconut flour, or a combination of other low-carb ingredients.
And they often include additional fiber and healthy fats, which helps keep you feeling fuller for longer.
And can actually curb those pesky carb cravings.
So it's not just about swapping out regular bread for a low-carb version.
It's about choosing options that actually support your overall keto goals.
That makes a lot of sense.
It's about working smarter, not harder.
Yeah,
right?
wow. Absolutely. And I think that's a key theme that runs throughout this whole article.
Making keto work for you, not against you.
I love that. It's about finding a way to make keto fit into your life, not the other way around.
And that's how you make it sustainable, something you can truly embrace as a lifestyle.
So we've got the mindset shift. We've got some strategies for managing those carb cravings with delicious keto bread options. What else can we do to set ourselves up for success?
Well, one of the biggest challenges people face with any dietary change is staying on track when life gets busy.
Real life gets in the way of our best intentions.
Exactly. That's why the article stresses the importance of meal prep and planning.
Okay, I know meal prep can sound a little daunting, especially if you're not used to it.
But it doesn't have to be complicated.
Give us the inside scoop. What kind of meal prep tips does the article recommend?
Well, for starters, It suggests prepping keto-friendly ingredients in advance.
Like what?
Things like chopping veggies, cooking a big batch of protein, or portioning out nuts and seeds.
So you have grab-and-go components ready for quick meals or snacks.
Exactly. It takes the pressure off when you're short on time.
I can see how that would make a huge difference.
It's all about setting yourself up for success.
And having those keto bread options on hand makes it even easier to throw together a satisfying meal.
Absolutely. You can whip up a quick sandwich or toast up a slice with some avocado and eggs.
Sounds delicious.
Mm.
But what about those times when you're eating out or at a social gathering? Those are where I tend to struggle the most.
Yeah, navigating social situations on keto can definitely be tricky. But with a little planning and a shift in perspective, it can be done without feeling deprived or like you're missing out. You're not wrong. It can feel like every social gathering is centered around food that's totally off limits on keto.
So how do we handle those situations without feeling like we're missing out or constantly tempting ourselves?
The article has some really practical tips like getting familiar with restaurant menus beforehand.
Yeah, that's a good one. I always feel a little awkward asking the server a million questions about ingredients.
I know what you mean, but most restaurants are pretty accommodating these days, especially if you're upfront about your dietary needs.
And it's so worth it to actually enjoy the meal instead of feeling restricted or settling for something you don't really want.
Right. And don't be afraid to ask for modifications or substitutions.
Like swapping out fries for a side salad or asking for your burger without the bun.
Most places are happy to make those adjustments.
Okay, that makes me feel a lot better about navigating restaurant situations. But what about those times when you're not the one choosing the menu, like potlucks or dinner parties?
Those can be a little trickier, but the article has some clever strategies for those too.
Lay it on us. What are we talking about here?
One suggestion is to offer to bring a dish that you know you can enjoy and that will also be a hit with others.
That's so smart. That way you're guaranteed to have at least one keto-friendly option.
Exactly. And it takes the pressure off of you having to find something suitable among the other dishes.
I love that. What other tips do they have?
Another tip is to fill up on protein and healthy fats before you go.
That's a great idea. I'm way less likely to cave to carb cravings when I'm already feeling satisfied.
Exactly. It helps you make more mindful choices and avoid those impulsive decisions.
And I also love that the article emphasizes communication. It encourages being upfront about your dietary choices without making a big deal about it. Just letting people know what works for you can go a long way.
Absolutely. It's about finding that balance between honoring your commitment to keto and still enjoying those social connections.
It's not about isolating yourself or making it this big announcement.
It's just about being comfortable with your choices and communicating them in a way that feels natural.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. The mindset shift, managing cravings, keto breads, meal prep, navigating social situations. What else is the article talking about?
Well, one thing that really resonated with me is the emphasis on mental wellness and how it ties into the whole keto experience.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about the physical benefits of keto, but what about the mental and emotional side of things?
That's often overlooked, but it's so important.
So how does the article address that connection?
Well, for starters, it highlights how the ketogenic diet can actually have a positive impact on mental clarity and overall mood.
Really? Tell me more about that.
One reason for this is that keto helps stabilize blood sugar levels.
Which we know can have a huge impact on how we feel.
Exactly. When your blood sugar is all over the place, you're more likely to experience those energy crashes, mood swings, and brain fog.
I've definitely been there. It's not fun.
Not at all. But when your blood sugar is stable, thanks to a ketogenic way of eating, you tend to have more consistent energy levels and a more balanced mood.
That makes a lot of sense, and it ties back to that whole idea of feeling empowered and in control.
Exactly. And on a deeper level, when you're fueling your body with healthy fats and nutrients, your brain functions more efficiently.
So it's not just about how you look, it's about how you feel and how your brain is working.
Precisely. Some studies have even shown a potential link between the ketogenic diet and reduced symptoms of anxiety and depression.
Wow, that's really fascinating. It seems like the benefits of keto go far beyond just weight loss.
It's about supporting overall well-being, both physically and mentally.
And that's why it's so important to approach keto holistically, considering not just the food you eat, but also your mindset, stress levels, and overall lifestyle.
And this is where that concept of lifestyle versus diet really comes full circle.
It's not just about following a set of rules.
It's about making choices that align with your values and support your long-term health and happiness.
And that includes being kind to yourself, allowing for flexibility, and celebrating your progress.
The article actually talks about setbacks being inevitable, and that's totally okay.
It's about viewing slip-ups as learning opportunities rather than failures.
Because let's be honest, life happens. There will be birthdays, holidays, vacations, and those days when you just really crave a slice of pizza.
Oh yeah, those pizza cravings are real.
But the key is to not let those moments derail your entire journey.
So it's about getting back on track and focusing on the bigger picture, rather than beating yourself up over a minor slip-up.
Exactly. It's about progress, not perfection. And it's about remembering why you chose to embrace keto in the first place, to feel your best, both physically and mentally.
This has been so insightful. It feels like we've covered so much ground already. From the initial mindset shift to meal prep strategies, navigating social situations, and even the mental wellness connection. What else should we touch on before we wrap up? We've talked about cravings and social situations, but this article dives into ketosis itself and how it plays into making keto a lifestyle. So could you break down what ketosis actually is?
Sure thing. So ketosis is basically like a metabolic state where your body shifts from using glucose from carbs as its primary fuel source to using fat for fuel instead.
So instead of relying on those carbs for energy, our bodies start burning stored fat. It's pretty amazing. But how do we know if we've actually made that switch and we're in ketosis?
Well, some people notice physical signs.
Like what?
Things like decreased appetite or increased energy. Some people even describe like a slightly metallic taste in their mouth.
Interesting. But is there a way to test for it more definitively?
Oh yeah, definitely. You can actually get ketone testing kits that can measure the level of ketones in your blood, breath, or even your urine.
So it's like having a little window into what's happening inside your body, which is super cool. But back to the idea of keto as a lifestyle, how does understanding ketosis help us make it more sustainable?
Well, when you understand how ketosis works, you can make more informed choices about the foods you're eating and how they might affect your progress.
So we can choose foods that'll keep us in that fat-burning mode and avoid those that might kick us out.
Exactly. It's all about making those choices that align with your overall goals.
So it's like having the owner's manual for our metabolism and making tweaks as needed.
I like that analogy. And it really ties back to what we've been talking about all along, making keto work for you rather than against you.
And one of the things I really appreciate about this article is how it encourages us to think about all the delicious possibilities that keto have to offer, rather than getting hung up on what we can't eat.
Absolutely. It's about shifting your perspective from restriction to abundance.
And finding ways to enjoy those foods we love in a way that supports our keto goals.
Like with Keto Bread, for example. It's not just a sad substitute. It's a way to enjoy those familiar flavors and textures without having to compromise your progress.
And it opens up a whole world of culinary possibilities. Because if we can have keto-friendly bread, we can have keto-friendly pancakes, pizza crusts, you name it.
Exactly. So for anyone out there who's feeling a little bit overwhelmed by all the information about keto or worried about missing out on their favorite foods, just remember that with a little creativity and the right resources, keto can be a truly delicious and fulfilling journey.
And a sustainable one, too. So to wrap things up for our listeners today, what's the one key takeaway you want them to walk away with?
I'd say start by remembering that keto is a lifestyle, not just a diet. It's about nourishing your body and mind, making choices that support your overall well-being, and finding joy in the process.
Beautifully said. It's about progress, not perfection.
Exactly. And there's a whole community out there to support you every step of the way.
This has been such a great conversation. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us today.
It's been my pleasure. I always love diving deep into these topics and exploring different perspectives.
And to our listeners, thanks for joining us on the deep dive. We hope you found this episode informative and inspiring.
Remember, you have the power to create a way of eating that makes you feel amazing, both inside and out.
Until next time, happy listening.